Have you ever caught yourself saying you're welcome on autopilot every single time someone says thank you? Yeah, me too. It's not wrong, of course, but let's be honest. It can get a little, well, repetitive. So today, we are going to completely supercharge your vocabulary. We'll explore a whole bunch of new ways to reply that will make your English sound way more natural, way more dynamic. You ready? Let's dive in.
So let's have a little real talk here. Is you're welcome your go-to, your automatic reply? It's a super common habit, especially when you're learning, and hey, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But today we're going to gently break that habit and give you some fresh, exciting new options.
You know, sticking with what's familiar is a great way to build confidence, but this is all about leveling up. We're going to give you a whole toolkit of replies so you'll have the perfect thing to say in literally any situation.
Okay, first up, let's get into the fun stuff, the casual and friendly replies. These are the phrases you're probably going to use the most, with your friends, your family, the people you're comfortable with. Let's kick things off with an absolute classic you will hear everywhere, especially if you're talking to someone from the UK or Australia. No worries. It's just so relaxed and friendly.
And this is where it gets really useful, right? Understanding the context. No worries is definitely very casual. It's like saying, hey, what I did was no big deal at all and I was happy to do it. It's just perfect for those small, everyday favors.
And here it is in the wild, a perfect, simple example. It's an everyday situation where no worries just fits. It feels helpful, but not stuffy or overly formal. See how natural that sounds?
All right, next up we have another huge one, no problem. This one is incredibly popular, especially in American English.
Now, it's very similar to no worries, but here's a little secret. There's a small catch. Some people, and this is often folks from older generations, aren't huge fans of it. Why? Well, the thinking is that it implies there could have been a problem. It's a tiny detail, I know, but it's a really fascinating piece of language trivia to have in your back pocket.
And speaking of different styles, check out these cool cultural differences. Over in the UK, a classic is don't mention it, which is a very self-deprecating response. We'll talk more about that in a second. Meanwhile, in the US, a simple sure is super common. It's direct, it's efficient, it just gets the job done.
Okay, now let's talk about my pleasure. This phrase is a real chameleon. It's a little more polite than no problem, but you can really adapt it for almost any situation. The reason it works so well is that it frames your help not as work, but as something you actually enjoy doing.
And check this out. You can easily dial the formality up or down. The pleasure is all mine is very formal, right? Something you might say at a really fancy event. My pleasure is your standard, polite go-to response. And then just pleasure, super casual. See? 3 different levels of formality, all from one core idea.
So, I've used this word self-deprecating a couple of times, and it's really key to understanding a lot of British English. Basically, it just means you're downplaying your own efforts. You're being modest. By saying something was nothing, you're making it easier for the other person to accept your help without feeling like they owe you a huge favor. It's a subtle social thing.
Okay, let's rapid fire a few more fantastic casual options. Anytime is so wonderfully generous, it basically says, I'm always here to help. Now be a little careful with that's all right, because your tone of voice is everything. It can sound warm or it can sound a bit dismissive. I know you'd do the same for me, is so heartfelt, perfect for close friends. And it was the least I could do, that one's powerful. It's for when you've really helped someone through a tough time.
All right, let's completely shift gears. What happens if you're not chatting with a friend? What if you're in a professional setting, like your job, or maybe you're dealing with a customer? Well, your reply needs to be a bit more formal, a bit more polite.
This little chart here breaks it down beautifully. You're most welcome is basically a polished, formal upgrade to the standard version. I'm happy to help is brilliant for any kind of customer service role. We appreciate your business is what you'd say when you're speaking for your company. And then there's much obliged. It's a charming, slightly old-fashioned one you might still hear in the UK. A real gem.
Phew, okay. We have covered a ton of ground, haven't we? From super casual chats with friends all the way to formal business emails. Let's wrap it all up.
And would you look at that? You now have at least 16 new ways to respond to thank you. Your conversational toolkit just got a massive upgrade. That is fantastic.
So, if you take away just one thing today, please let it be this. Context is everything. There is no single best answer. The perfect phrase depends entirely on who you're talking to and what the situation is. Is it your boss or your best friend? Did you hold a door open for them, or did you help them move into a new apartment?
You've got to choose your words to fit the moment. So the only question left is, which of these new phrases are you going to try out first? Because the real key isn't just knowing them, it's actually using them. So get out there and give one a try. That's how they'll become a totally natural part of your English. Happy chat!